If you're thinking about Social Security, when to take it, whether to wait, or how it fits into your retirement, you're not alone. Almost everyone I talk to assumes Social Security is simple. You work, you retire, you collect. That's the general idea most people have. And on the surface, it sounds straightforward. But the truth is, Social Security is one of the most misunderstood parts of retirement planning in the United States. And one small decision made at the wrong time can quietly cost you tens of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. Sometimes even more. What makes it worse is that most people don't realize they've made a mistake until years later, when there's no way to undo it. Welcome to the Finance Podcast. I'm Ted Peters, and today we're going to talk through the most common Social Security mistakes that cost retirees real money, not in theory, but in real life. Now, before we go any further, if you find this kind of conversation helpful, plain language, no hype, no sales pitch, take a second to follow or subscribe to the channel. That way you won't miss future conversations like this. And if you know someone who's close to retirement or already retired, this is one of those topics worth sharing. All right, let's get into it. Social Security is not just a benefit, it's a system with rules. And like any system, if you don't understand the rules, you end up playing the game at a disadvantage. One of the biggest mistakes retirees make is focusing on the monthly check instead of the long-term impact. Most people ask one question: how much will I get each month? That's the wrong starting point. The better question is, how long will this decision affect my life? Because once you claim Social Security, you've essentially locked in a financial decision that can last 20, 25, sometimes 30 years. Let's start with the most common and most expensive mistake: taking Social Security too early. For many people, age 62 looks tempting. That's the earliest age you can claim Social Security retirement benefits. And for someone who's tired, burned out, or just ready to stop working, that early check feels like relief. But what most people don't fully grasp is that claiming at 62 permanently reduces your benefit. This isn't a temporary reduction. It doesn't bounce back later. Once you lock it in, it's locked for life. Depending on your full retirement age, claiming at 62 can reduce your monthly benefit by roughly 25 to 30%. And that reduction doesn't just affect you. It can also affect your spouse, especially if they rely on your benefit for survivor income. Now, to be clear, taking Social Security early is not always a mistake. For some people, it makes sense. Health issues, financial necessity, or other income sources can change the math. The mistake is taking it early without understanding the trade-offs. Because here's what happens over time. That smaller check shows up every month. Inflation adjustments apply to a lower base. And over decades, that gap adds up to tens of thousands of dollars in lost income. And most people don't notice it right away. They only feel it later when expenses rise and income doesn't stretch the way they expected. Another mistake that costs retirees money is assuming full retirement age is the best age to claim. Full retirement age sounds official. It sounds like the right answer. For many people today, that's somewhere between 66 and 67. At full retirement age, you receive 100% of your calculated benefit. No reduction, no bonus. But here's the part that often gets overlooked. If you delay Social Security past full retirement age, your benefit increases. Every year you wait up to age 70, your benefit grows by about 8% per year. That's a guaranteed increase. No market risk, no investment account can offer that kind of certainty. So when people claim at full retirement age, simply because it sounds correct, they may be leaving significant money on the table. Again, this isn't about saying everyone should wait until 70. It's about understanding that delaying is an option. And for many retirees, it's one of the most powerful tools they have to increase lifetime income. And this becomes even more important when you're married. Which brings us to another costly mistake: not understanding spousal and survivor benefits. Social Security isn't just an individual benefit, it's also a family benefit. If you're married, your decision affects your spouse. If one spouse earns significantly more than the other, the higher earner's benefit often becomes the foundation of retirement income. What many people don't realize is that the surviving spouse typically receives the higher of the two benefits, not both. So if the higher earner claims early and locks in a reduced benefit, That reduced amount may follow the surviving spouse for the rest of their life. This is one of the most expensive mistakes couples make. They focus on maximizing income while both spouses are alive, without thinking about what happens if one spouse passes away. Longevity matters here, especially for women who statistically live longer than men. A decision made at 62 can affect a surviving spouse at 82. And once again, this isn't about fear. It's about awareness. Another mistake that quietly costs retirees money is misunderstanding how Social Security is taxed. Many people believe Social Security is tax-free. Others believe it's fully taxed. The reality is somewhere in between. Depending on your total income, including pensions, retirement account withdrawals, and investment income, up to 85% of your Social Security benefits can be taxable at the federal level. And this is where coordination becomes critical. If you have a pension, required minimum distributions, or other taxable income, Social Security can push you into higher tax brackets without you realizing it. This creates a situation where retirees are surprised by their tax bill later in life. And here's the key point. The mistake isn't paying taxes. The mistake is failing to plan for them. Strategic withdrawals, timing decisions, and understanding how different income sources interact can significantly reduce the lifetime tax burden. But Social Security decisions are often made in isolation. People claim benefits without considering how those benefits interact with everything else. Another common mistake is continuing to work without understanding the earnings limit. If you claim Social Security before full retirement age and continue working, there's an earnings limit. If you earn more than that limit, some of your benefits may be withheld. Now, this doesn't mean the money is lost forever. It's recalculated later. But the confusion around this rule causes frustration, misunderstanding, and poor planning. Some retirees claim early, keep working, and then wonder why their checks are smaller than expected. Again, it comes down to knowing the rules before making the decision. Another costly misunderstanding is assuming Social Security will automatically adjust to your needs. Social Security adjusts for inflation, but it doesn't adjust for lifestyle changes, healthcare costs, or long-term care. Many retirees underestimate how expenses change over time. Healthcare costs tend to rise faster than general inflation. Housing needs change. Support for family members may increase. Social Security provides a base. It was never designed to cover everything. This is where people get into trouble by relying too heavily on it. Another mistake that costs retirees money is failing to coordinate Social Security with retirement accounts. Social Security doesn't exist in a vacuum. It interacts with 401ks, IRAs, Roth accounts, pensions, and taxable investments. The order in which you draw income matters. For example, drawing heavily from pre-tax accounts while also collecting Social Security can increase taxes and trigger higher Medicare premiums later on. These are things many retirees don't see coming. And once those premiums increase, they're hard to bring back down. Another overlooked issue is Medicare timing. Social Security and Medicare are connected, but they're not the same thing. Some people assume enrolling in one automatically handles the other. Mistakes here can lead to penalties that last for life. Again, the issue isn't complexity. The issue is lack of guidance. And this brings us to one of the biggest mistakes of all: treating Social Security as a one-time decision instead of a long-term strategy. People spend years planning vacations, they research cars, they comparison shop appliances, but Social Security, one of the largest financial decisions of their life, is often decided in a few conversations. That's not because people don't care. It's because they don't realize how much is at stake. Social Security isn't just about when you stop working. It's about longevity, taxes, spousal protection, and long-term stability. When done thoughtfully, it can provide peace of mind. When done hastily, it can create regret. The good news is this: education changes outcomes. Understanding how Social Security works, how claiming age, taxes, spousal benefits, survivor benefits, and income coordination all fit together puts you back in control. And control is what retirement planning is really about. If this conversation has been helpful, take a moment to follow or subscribe to the Finance Podcast. We focus on practical financial education for real life, especially for people navigating retirement and long-term planning. And if you know someone who's making Social Security decisions right now, share this episode with them. It's one of those topics where a little knowledge can make a big difference. I'm Ted Peters. Thanks for listening.